racing will be of the highest caliber when the bell tolls at the start of the 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship season. It will be to the roads and fields of Darling in the Western Cape that they will set sail for. Hello again, off-roaders. This is Arnold Getz, and this is the Glassball program of the 06 Off-Road Battle for Supremacy in Southern Africa. It's an 8-race-long season which will test man, machine and pit crew to the utmost, spanning some of the most inhospitable terrain on the southernmost tip of the continent. To add further fuel to the competitive fire is a new class of racing, the SP class or super production, which debuts this year. For the Ford crew and former SA chap Neil Woolridge, their endurance has paid off.
Well, we're on the home run now, hopefully. It's been a long road, but I think we finally turned the corner, and as you can see, the car is painted and ready for final assembly now. So, as I say, it's been a long road, but it's the home run now. We've got everything ready. The whole car's been assembled once before, so it's the final, put everything together and make sure it works now.
The Ford Racing team will run 2 4-litre Ford Rangers in the SP class in 2006. But after all those figures, what figures best in producing a top-class off-road vehicle such as this?
Yeah, this is the room where we build all our composite parts. In the past, we've outsourced everything, and we sort of got the idea from a company which we dealt with in France, where I went over there and I was amazed to see that they did almost everything in-house, even down to making their own stickers. And when I questioned them as to why, they said, well, it's the only way that you can have total reliability, know that it's done at the right time, and the quality is good. So we've tried to do that as much as possible where we can. Obviously, we don't have the resources to do everything ourselves. But yes, we do now have Gary, who's joined us, who will build all our composite parts for ourselves, in-house, all our body parts, back fenders, front fenders, doors, things like that. So it's been very helpful in that we're getting it done when we want it, how we want it, and in time. So it's quite a big site for us. Also, when there's damage to the cars, we don't have to wait for other people to help us and get things done quickly and on time.
And time is what it's all about. The clock is the ultimate competitor. It never sleeps, it never eats, and it never needs a rest. But the engines in these cars take a pounding. Which one will it be in 06?
We didn't use an Australian motor. We used in last year's, in the T cars, we used the Ford Mondeo engine, which we bought out to a 3.3-litre engine. But this year, the regulations state that it has to be the engine from the model range. In other words, in our case, we have to use the 4-litre Ranger motor. So we've opted to do the development work with a company we've worked with for a long time in France, a company called Arica. They've done all our engines in the past and proved to be very good. So they've done all the development on the engine for us, which in the first tests and that we've had and the dyno reports and that we're very excited about. It works very well. We've got a good amount of torque out of the engine, and yeah, we're looking forward to some good things from it.
Reigning Class D champion Ford driver Manfred Schroeder seemed the obvious choice to pilot an SP car, but he will suit up for the Class E championship, while the impressive Shamir Wariyawa will take the wheel of the big Ranger SP.
Yeah, it was a bit of a controversial thing in that obviously we wanted to stay with Manfred Schroeder. He'd been a tried and tested a product with us, and it performed very well, won many championships with us, and so it was sort of the natural progression to go onto the new SP class, but it was a business decision at the end of the day. Shamir's a young up-and-coming driver. He's 28 years old. He's put himself through a driving school in America. He's spent a lot of money on his own and has imported porters and things like that. And we believe that he's a very good choice. I think he's going to do well. And as I say, he's young, he's dynamic, and I've no doubt he's going to take a bit of time to settle into the car. You don't just step out of a space frame into a production vehicle of this caliber. So I don't think we can expect him to win in the first race, but hopefully by mid-season we'll see him up to scratch and doing well.
Wariyawa has managed to put together an impressive combination. Fuel giant Total and Ford team up. And for the 28-year-old, it's a chance to step up to the production car class after more than a dozen years a little closer to the ground.
The car behind me is going to be used by Sam Muller, which is my uncle, and he's going to drive it under the Oven Fresh banner. I managed to get a factory drive with Ford, together with Total, being my sponsor from last year. So the car will be known as a Total Ford Ranger. Total are ecstatic about it, Ford are ecstatic about it. I think it called for change. I've been driving special vehicles for the last 13 years, and I think we need some new blood in the Class SP with all the dealers, and Ford managed to give me this opportunity, and I got Total to back the whole thing, and that's how it all came about. I think this year is going to be very, very, very challenging. You got Toyota, I believe, have got Bevan driving for them, the two Nissans, the two Toyotas, two Fords. I believe there's some privateers as well. So it calls for a very interesting year. Our strategy is to get used to the car first before we try and attack the rest of the field. So that's what our intention is.
Intention is one thing and regulations another. To squeeze every ounce of available power out of the car, there were some weight changes made. Schroeder feels that this will improve handling for the team with a well-known blue and white logo.
So last year our car was a 4-litre, so it had to weigh 200 kgs more than this year's car. So with power to weight ratio there won't be that much difference. We've taken off I think about 200 kgs. And yeah, the car will definitely be handling a lot better and be a lot lighter. I think the costs of running a Class D were too expensive. They tend to go a bit faster and tend to break more things. I mean, you used to race a diesel and you used to race a thing for 2 years on the same good diff, on the same gearbox, same motor. It's a really cheap way of going racing.
The Ford team have no less than 2 Class E Rangers entered in the 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship, while Manfred will drive the one and Oldface is back on the scene. Rob Gurney will pilot the second car and says a diesel engine vehicle will also present him with some new challenges.
I've been racing in the off-road scene, bikes and cars, for the last 25 years. And I thought I'd like to step back up to the national scene where the competition is a bit tighter and try and make a mark in that series. Racing this diesel is going to be something new for me because I've raced the nationals in Class B before, and it's going to be a lot new experience, but I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
Ford will be an unknown quantity in the SP class on the SA off-road scene, but one of the established giants of the sport in South Africa is undoubtedly Toyota. The Japanese motor manufacturer has won a massive amount of championships over all the years, and they plan to add more in the immediate future. In 2006, their assault will be spread across the whole spectrum of super production cars and classes D and E, with no less than 12 teams parading the red, white and green of the Castor Toyota outfit. There have also been some driver changes due to the fact that Paolo Piazzamusso has retired, while Gavin Cronier will campaign in the Italian Formula 3000 Championship Series. The factory team will be led by the 2 Toyota Hilux 4-litre V6 SP class entries of Marc Cronier and Bevan Bertolt, who also moves from the space frames to the big bangers. At the announcement of the new look team at the headquarters of the motor manufacturer Toyota, there was an air of expectancy and an atmosphere which spoke of excitement. Almost a matter of let the games begin. Toyota Motorsport team leader John Rudman takes us through the proceedings and the team.
This year we starting off with Marc Cronier and Chris Birkin as last year, but unfortunately we've lost Gavin to overseas drive, and we'll be using Bevan Bertolt and navigating with Robin Houghton. Marc Cronier will be starting off in his SP that Cliff Barker drove end of last year, and Bevan unfortunately will be driving the old Class D bakkie until the new one's ready for Sugarbolt. I think that Bevan's bringing a lot of experience with him. He's been in off-road for many years. He's got production car experience. So I think overall he'll adapt quite well to off-road conditions.
And that's what they've always done. Young Marc Cronier, though, did not enjoy the best of seasons in 05, but he plans to exercise that memory ASAP.
Last year we had a bit of a turret season. We started off quite well, had a small off in the beginning of the year, and then towards the end of the year it was going quite well. We were on track, and yeah, unfortunately in Leidenburg I had quite a big off. Fortunately I still can't remember much of it, so I don't think I'll ever remember. But yeah, looking forward to the new season. The guys are doing a tremendous job on the new vehicles. I think we're gonna have a competitive vehicle. We've got some serious testing ahead of us, I think we need to look at getting the bakkie up to speed as fast as possible, and yeah, with the event coming up, I think we might have a good shot at it. Moving up to SP has been it's been quite a jump for me. We've done some small test work earlier on this year, and the capabilities of the vehicle are just far superior compared to a standard vehicle, and I do believe that the vehicle is going to be a far quicker vehicle than the other one. It's just a matter of making it Toyota tough, and I think we can achieve that. The vehicle just does everything so well. The vehicle brakes well, it accelerates well, versus the standard production vehicle. You know, it's much harder on your body, where with the SP it's much softer on your body, it's much more drivable. So I do believe that the events are going to become more fun to drive. You know, doing it in a standard or near standard bakkie, it really takes a lot out of you, and a lot of people don't understand what sort of pressure you go through just on the physical side. And I actually think going up a notch might even be better. You know, it might even not be as physical as the current vehicle, and I think it's going to help in terms of durability, you know, especially when we're doing 2-day stints, for instance in the desert race, you know, to help us to be quick right the way through. And I think it's going to be an achievable task with the new vehicle.
Having said that, how important is the physical side of the driver's responsibility? Is fitness and the maintenance thereof important? After all, Mark is lining up in 2 disciplines in 06.
You've got to look after your fitness in terms of durability, again, in terms of back and neck strength. There are a number of key points in off-road racing which you've got to concentrate on. And one of them also the eating habits, especially leading up to an event. It's important to look after your system and keep yourself going after a long sort of day. Otherwise you just end up in trouble, and especially with me doing 2 types of events this year, being off-road and rallying. They're a week apart, so physically I've got to try and get myself in tune so that I don't end up compromising one of the events.
For Bevan Bertelt, it's a great opportunity, from the special to the 4x4, and he was amazed at the team, the car and the preparation.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky with the opportunity. They, from racing that big horsepower Sandmaster to a 4x4 is nice, but most of all I think it's very nice that Toyota have really backed me and believe in me to have chosen me to come and drive one of the super production cars. We went testing in the rain for like 3 hours in this Class D car, just to get the feel of it in the narrower track in the 4x4 and the limited slip diff in the middle. It's got a special lever. Very different to drive, and you know, it's actually amazing what kind of a bakkie they've built here. People say, oh, it's bumpy, it's isn't it? I really was expecting like a standard car. It's a very impressive car actually. We jumped it a little bit, and it's phenomenal in the turns. The traction of the 4x4 is excellent. You do miss the power, obviously, of that 450 horsepower LS1 motor. But I can't believe how well Mark has done with this bakkie in the overall compared to what I had. So, as I said, we're in the rain for 3 hours. It was like driving in a swimming pool for 3 hours. Not one misfire, nothing. They prepare an impeccable car, and the mechanics in the Toyota team is fantastic. And that's the biggest change that I've found. I've never had so much support. Guys really looking after you, and their preparation is impeccable. So it's fantastic to belong to a team like this. And I think in Cape Town, I've got a lot to learn in a bakkie. You can't just get in these cars and expect to be in the front and that. So it'll be a great 500 Ks is enough to learn enough in this car. And I don't mind where I finish. I just want to bring it home without any problems. But when we get to Sugarbelt, then it's back to serious winning, because I'll have that power back again, and we'll have a car that can win. And this team is excessively dedicated to winning. I really underestimated them. And then I've got to know a lot of the guys, and I see how many hours they put into these cars. We are going to win. Just a matter of time.
And timing is everything, including handling a bucking Bronco such as this. How different and difficult is it to handle one of these as compared to the special vehicle?
With the difference in the weight between the Sandmaster as opposed to this, you always got a different braking time. So this car is slightly heavier, probably about 500 kilograms heavier. You got to brake a bit earlier. Then you balance the throttle and you accelerate earlier as well through the corner because it's got more traction. So in other words, you're getting a lot less understeer. So you can therefore put the power on a lot earlier, which if you take the overall amount of corners that you're going through in an off-road race, it makes up for the time you make on the high-speed straights. So they always say the faster car is the one that can go in a straight line for the longest. But in off-road, there's a hell of a lot of corners, and that's how these guys make up their time on the faster cars. So I think when you get the combination between the Class D that I'm going to drive in Cape Town and the Super Production for Sugarbelt, you'll have a hell of a balance between the speed and the cornering, and that's why these cars are phenomenal, you know.
And that's still ahead. So is a lot more of our 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship preview, which continues on the other side of these.
Do you watch for the live events, to be part of the live crowd right till the end, or to support your favorite team, be part of the Mexican wave and scream? Do you watch when it's going dry, or for the ride, are you going wild? You trying to keep up all the while, the racing is too fast for your eyes. Do you watch for the record breakers, majors and the big name makers? Do you watch for the Tigers of golf? Do you watch till you cry cause they lost? Do you watch for the win some, lose some? Do you watch for the inspiration? Do you watch for the getting goosebumps, cause the competition is gruesome? Do you watch for the adrenaline, you're hoping a better man better win? Do you watch till you feel the heat, thrill of victory, agony of defeat? Watch for the fashion statements, for the trends or the chat and make friends? Do you watch for the beautiful people with sex appeal that no one can equal? Do you watch for the beautiful people? Do you watch for the beautiful people? Do you watch for the beautiful people? People. Whoever you are, whatever your reason, Super Sports for everyone. Do you watch?
There's more sport than ever before. Keep your finger on the pulse with Super Sport Active. Just press OK and follow the arrows. Get the info, stay with the play, but don't leave the channel you're watching. Check scores. Check fixtures. Check the logs. Check out the latest news, but don't miss the action. Super Sport Active. Just press OK. OK.
I've been the new champion, the title holder in my first ever defense. I've been fired, rehired, I have a point to prove. I'm the rule maker, the businessman, the future of the sport. I drove a record lap at a complex track. I've been near to controversy, near to retiring. I'm here to win. I'm a fan, I'm a fanatic. I am Formula One. F1 Malaysia, 19th of March. Exclusively live on Super Sport. Brought to you by Tiger Wheel and Tire.
The Stormers can run, but they cannot hide.
It's the one thing the lads and lasses in the ABSA Off-Road Championship will not see anything of. Tracks, they go off-road and they stay there. And for Team Nissan Motorsport, that's exactly the way they like it. Rough and tough. The Nissan squad is aiming for an unprecedented 6th consecutive championship win in the series for manufacturers, as well as the individual drivers and co-drivers championships in 2006. Last year, it took something special. After more than 5,500 Ks of racing over 8 races all over Southern Africa, a mere 3 points separated 3-time champ Hannes Kobler and newcomer Alfie Cox, with the former bike racer winning through at the very last race of the season, the Ford Carnival City 400, as it went right down to the wire between the teammates. The big 4-litre V6 SP class also figures prominently in Team Nissan's racing plans. The distinctive fire engine red car debuted in 2005 toward the end of the season in the capable hands of former champ Duncan Foss and proved itself with a huge improvement in torque. Team manager Glenn Hall announced the driver changes to us at their Midrand base.
Yeah, we do have a couple of changes in the driver lineup. Duncan Foss, who did the lion's share of the testing of the Super Production next year, is moving into Alfie's seat effectively, and Alfie having Leicester to follow his Dakar program. So Ralph will be staying on, and Duncan and Ralph will make a formidable team, I think. In the other car, we've got Hannes. Now, Hannes has decided not to retire, which is great news for us, and I think Hannes is determined to really regain his championship status. He missed it by just 3 points last year. He says 50 is definitely not too old, and he's going flat out. So Hannes will be joined by Francois, and that'll be the two teams in the top cars for this year.
And a formidable outfit they will be again in 06, that's for sure. Nissan have won more titles than they care to remember, and for reason too. Hall's outfit is slickly operated, and their stable is run like a well-oiled, very slick machine. We wanted to know which well-oiled cars will they run this year.
Well, regarding car preparation, it's the two cars that we used on Carnival City, one car that our Hungarian team ran, and the brand new car which Duncan ran. So over the season, the off-season, we've just done some rebuilds. Performance we're certainly happy enough with. Now we've got to focus on reliability and making sure both cars don't have any trouble, and that's the only really way to stand us in good position to win the championship. So, just to recap, performance is okay, reliability is where we're focusing on. I think competition is going to be fierce. We're going to have 6 cars obviously running right at the top for the first couple of races, and we're building a third car for Mark Corbett, and he will join the 2 factory cars later in the season, and that's exciting for us too. So a 3-car team is a good place to start to win the manufacturers, but I think Ford and Toyota are out to regain that status of being number 1 over the line, so I think that either one of the 2 teams is going to be strong.
Championship winning navigator Ralph Pitchford, who guided Alfie Cox to his maiden national championship win last year, has been involved in the building of the car from scratch. So for Duncan Foss, it will be like having a mechanic on board.
The advantages of the new car for me is that I've been with the project right from the beginning. I've learned all about the car, all the mechanical parts, the mechanical side of it, and I've been involved with a lot of the testing. So, if we have any problems along the way, at least I know exactly what to look out for and where to look.
And he does a great job on lookout duty, trust us on that. But what about the battlers out there? For the privateers under the Nissan banner, Hall pays glowing tribute to them and says the brand would not have won so many championships were it not for their contribution. Kutsiela Viskachny says costs are a big drawback for his Racesonics Nissan team.
What we plan on doing is to step up our preparation. With privateers, there's always the cost factor, which is very difficult. But this year we've changed the crew which is going to prepare the car for us. The car is getting a little bit long in the tooth. We will later, during midway through the season, look at replacing it with a new double cab format. But yeah, we're trying to eliminate all the mistakes which we had last year, and looking at the full season this year and be more competitive as well. Well, the competition in Class D will be stiff as always, although there are not any factory teams, what I believe, entered there. But the Toyotas are very well sorted out vehicles. They will be there. And then from the Nissan privateer team, I think we will have Arno Du Plessis, Dion Skuman, and a lot of the privateer Nissans should be there to help us looking at, once again, get the Nissan Manufacturers Challenge for this year. We thank Nissan for once again supporting us as privateers, and we're looking at a good year, but Class D is always very stiff as far as competition is concerned.
So how do privateers go about things? What did the Racesonic team do in the off-season, and how will they approach 2006?
Well, in the off-season, we've practically rebuilt the whole car, looking at all the suspension components, replaced that. We replaced the whole transmission section, and we're looking at having the car rewired because electrical problems caused us a lot of standing time last year. So basically going for eliminating all that sort of problems, we're looking at basically a year where we can consistently finish every race which we enter, and we'll take it from there and step up the pace during the later part of the year with the new vehicle.
And for a privateer, being competitive, now that's off-road heaven. For Top Car magazine editor Dion Skuman and his co-driver Jan Sain, 2005 was an inconsistent year marred by vehicle failure. This, despite being competitive, frustrating to say the least.
2005 was a bit of a problem year for us. We had the odd
mechanical mishap, and it really wasn't the kind of season we'd like to remember, although what we did do is show quite a lot of pace. The vehicle certainly was right up there when we kept it together. And now going into 2006, we want to really consolidate the experience we had with the vehicle and hope that we can get some good results.
And with all his magazine clout and the Supersport Top Car appearances, was Dion able to secure a new sponsor for 06? What a question.
A couple of changes to the team. Certainly driver navigator will still be myself, Jan Simon, the navigator chair. We have a new sponsor though, Inspector Car, of course a division of Westbank, are supporting the vehicle this year. Always nice to see a new name in motorsport, so we're going to introduce them to the wonders of off-road racing, which should be a bit of fun. And the vehicle itself, we'll be putting a lot of focus on the reliability issue, a lot of preparation going into the vehicle, a new shell coming during the course of the season as well, and we're really hoping to be right up front in the Class D field.
But don't for 1 second think that the hustle and bustle of the off-road scene is just for the boys. For the fairer sex, there's good news too. It's an all-women's team. Anne Evans will be pairing up with Caroline Uester in a car which has already proved itself, the Sandown Motors Mitsubishi Pajero.
Oh, we've managed to get the ex-Neil Woolridge Pajero. We're going to run it as the Mitsubishi Motors team. The team consists out of myself and Caroline Uester. And we are going to run the nationals the whole year, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll have proven that the girls can do it as well.
And Anne definitely has the experience. She's been at the helm of one of these for the last 5 years. Be warned, girl power is coming.
Well, I've been racing for the last 5 years on the off-road national scene. I have been the only female driver in the nationals for that period of time, and I raced the old Lada Niva, which was the smallest car in the whole national championship. But I'm proud to say that many a times we came home when nobody gave us the time of day that we would.
Evans's teammate Caroline Uester also brings a lot of experience to the team, as she's been calling the route for her husband in a Sandmaster over the past few years.
For the past 2 years I've been riding with my husband in a Sandmaster. It's been going great. I've got my regional colours and my regional championship colours. It's been wonderful, and now it's time to go on to nationals, and luckily enough I've got a chance to go with Anne, and hopefully we show everybody what we're made out of.
And what about comfortability? Compare the almost open-air feel of a Sandmaster to the closed cockpit of a production car for us, please.
I think it's going to be great in the production vehicle. The Sandmaster was very comfortable with its suspension, but I think with the added factors of suspension and a windscreen and a totally closed up car, it might just be a bit more comfortable than a Sandmaster. We hope to be as competitive as possible. Hopefully we can be up there with the other people, and we're going to try and show ourselves as best as possible.
Privateers Chris Visser, Arnold and Yuri Duplessis and the De Bruins, Hugo and Jaap will all be in action during the 8 races in the series, starting on the 17th of March when the Nissan Dealer 400 gets the flag in Darling, and finishing off with the Ford Carnival City 400 in November. In between, there will be almost 6,000 kilometers of uncompromising racing. Tried and tested formulas mixed with the latest innovations. From Limpopo to Lesotho, from sun to sand, from braking to breaking down. The extreme nature of this type of motorsport brings out the best and the worst, and it's all still ahead in 2006.
Let's make sport a priority.
8 kilograms.
Let's Play for Kagiso Media is a valuable part of our overall strategy in our programming throughout all our radio stations, to touch the family in different ways, in meaningful ways.
Yeah, the Let's Play campaign is a wonderful campaign. All the media getting together to promote health and wellness and well-being is fantastic.
I think it's very important for Prime Media and Cinemark, which is part of the Prime Media, to be involved in the youth and the future of our country.
We support this initiative 100%. We believe it's an important one for our kids. We believe in the health of our youth. It is something that is important to us as a group as well, and we're 100% behind this initiative.
Prime Media Outdoor, our sports stadiums, our forecourt networks, all will be getting involved in this initiative. We'll be pushing plasma screens to the airports just to make sure that we bring the message to the broadest possible segment of South Africa's population.
Let's play live.
The countdown has started, and there's all sorts of stuff you need to know. The Gillette FIFA World Cup Preview, the definitive guide to the greatest sporting event of the year. Exclusive interviews with star players, in-depth profiles of the teams, and behind-the-scenes stories about the tournament. The Gillette FIFA World Cup Preview. It's time. Only on SuperSport 3, your 24-hour soccer channel.
Unlike the weather, they will never change their attitude. These are serious athletes. They love what they do, but they will never love each other. And for the love of the game, they will never stop entertaining you. Spend every Wednesdays with the best of WWE Afterburn and Fridays with Bottom Line on your Channel of Champions, SuperSport.
The 2006 season will also be a big year for several privateers. One such a racer is Thomas Rundle, and it is indeed privateers such as him that makes the ABSA Off-Road Championship Series what it is. In both the production car and special vehicle categories, the competition will be fiercer than ever. There were several different winners last year, meaning that the depth in the sport is ever increasing. Off-road aficionados agree this trend will continue in the season under discussion. In 2005 in Class E, George Barkhuizen and the Rubicon Toyota Hilux had a year which filled him with hope for the one ahead.
We started off with a desert race in Botswana. It was about the third race of the season, so we missed out on the first two. On the desert, Rod Herring navigated for me. We ended up with a second place in Class E. It was very well. And then from there on, we had about, I think, 2 third places, a couple of non-finishes. So we ended up 5th for the season, which I think for our first season out in Class E isn't too bad.
Indeed, it wasn't bad at all. But what is their trusty steed looking like for the 2006 campaign?
In the last year, we took the bold decision to build ourselves a complete new bakkie for the next season. It's based on the IMV Toyota Hilux. It will be the 2.7 VVTi engine that's going in there, and it should be good for the next season. It's got the coil-over front suspension, which should make life a lot easier on us. But it's also difficult. There's not much development taken place up to now, and we will venture into new territory. We were very fortunate to involve Rubicon Construction into our off-road racing team, and they are basically our main sponsors for the next season. The team will consist of myself driving the new Hilux. Sharon will navigate for me. David White will pilot the Truggy, and then our 2 new drivers will be Peter Ritven and Deval Boshoff. They will campaign my old Hilux bakkie.
And what's it like being in the hot seat with your better half?
It is really a hot seat, and it's terrific. I love motorsport, I love racing, and I think it's a benefit for husband and wife to enjoy it together. The feeling I get when we race together is a feeling of excitement, nervousness, and a sense of recklessness, because I don't know what's going to happen around the next corner.
For David White, there will be no one beside him. He has the driver's seat and the hot seat all to himself in the Rubicon 2-litre Truggy. What's he expecting from his solo season out there?
Well, last year it was quite difficult being the driver and navigator. It was my first year doing that. It proved difficult at some races. Some races was much easier. For instance, the Sugar Belt, I really enjoyed. I've done well there. It was well marked, and we hope the best for this year. That will also be well marked as a Sugar Belt last year.
But what's it all about, this own-some, lonesome stuff? Could you not find someone mad enough to fill the co seat?
Yes, I was looking for a midget. I couldn't find one, and the only one suitable and who was able to race with me was poor old Noddy.
And that's only because they couldn't quite fit big ears in anywhere. Peter Ruthven and Deval Boshoff are also making a comeback. And it's been quite a while. In fact, they last raced together when they were still in high school. It's been quite a long time coming, though.
We've been we wanted to race from Standard 9. We've started racing in Standard 9 and then we've left it for 20 years now. We've been sponsoring Dave for the last 2 years and for George last year. George decided to sell his old bakkie, build a new bakkie, and I decided then to buy his old bakkie. And me and Deval, as we've been together since grade 1, decided then to get together and race again. So that's where we started.
For Brian Martin in the Castrol 2.7 Toyota Hilux in Class E, the attraction of the off-road scene was like a moth to a flame.
I've been involved in motorsport for many years. I've raced in all facets of motorsport, and I've always been very impressed by the off-road series, on how well it's been organized and just the camaraderie in off-road. And we've built cars here for drivers like Cassie Coetzee, Zane Pierce, and we've been quite successful. The company decided to go in-house and offered me the opportunity to drive the bakkie, which I grabbed with both hands because it's like a dream come true for me. The bakkie is great. It's the new shape IMV Toyota 2.7 4x4. I think it has a very good chance of doing well in Class E. My navigator is a guy by the name of Oki Fourie. He's from Johannesburg. In fact, the original Condor that we built for Cassie Coetzee right here at Toyota, Oki was Cassie's navigator. I actually formed a relationship with Oki in that time, and I asked him at the beginning of the season if he would navigate, and he accepted, which I'm quite glad about because he's very experienced, he's a nice guy, and we get on very well.
In Class F, it was a season-long battle with several teams in the mix right up to the last race of the season in Brakpan at the Ford Carnival City 400. But for the toughest T combination of brothers Mark and Stuart Moffat in their even tougher Bosel Brospeed Land Rover, it was a great finish to a tough season. They clinched the National Championship trophy and all the spoils that went with that. Now they have to defend it.
Ended 2005 on a high note, took the championship. So we've got a challenge. We've got to keep F1. The vehicle in the off-season, we basically went through everything and checked the vehicle. No major hiccups or breaks in the vehicle that we had to sort out. A few modifications on the engine itself, taking the normal intake manifold out, putting throttle bodies on. And let's see how it goes. We'll take race for race. But the car has got its name, the old trusty Land Rover, so we just hope it keeps up to its name.
Yeah. You want to get it away? Bend it up a bit, otherwise...
So the battle lines have already been drawn. In last year's championship series, there were 7 titles up for grabs and only one, the Class B Special Vehicle National Trophy, had been decided before the final race of the season. But the saying in racing parlance is, you're only as good as your last season. And many of the teams out there preparing for the Western Cape Showdown are all too aware of that. For Gil Nel and his Bosel Brospeed Truggy 2-litre Subaru entered in Class A, that was definitely the case.
Last year we basically had a terrible year with teething problems on the car. We got the car pretty late for the first race, but we managed to get it there and to get it running. So, but we rolled it on the first race 7 times, and after that it was brakes and handling and steering and suspension problems. So we went through a bad session with the car. But then at the end of the year, in the off-season, we rebuilt the whole thing, and I went through everything myself, bit by bit. And hopefully we're going to have a better season. I've changed everything, even the color of the car. I've changed navigators, I've changed the number, and so we're putting our best foot in the door now. So let's see what happens this year, but it should go well, and we're all looking forward to a great year. And thanks to the help of the sponsors, we could go through the car thoroughly and give it a good rundown, and we've already tested it twice. And as we say, we're looking forward to the new year and to the new season, and hopefully we're going to give the guys a bit of a chase again and be back there.
Cape Town off-road enthusiasts will also have the chance to meet and greet their heroes and see, feel and touch the cars at the inaugural Off-Road Expo, which will take place at the V&A Waterfront in Cape Town on the 16th of March. The day before the pipe opener of the season, the Nissan Dealer 400 gets underway. A wide variety of production vehicles and special cars will be on display, not to mention the high-tech toys for boys which these teams employ. Talking teams, the Weichholts had a big off early on in 2005, had the rebuild, and they are back in a big way in 2006. Meanwhile, there will be some more old faces out there campaigning in new colors. One of them is Douwe de Boer, who will turn out in the Mahindra Scorpio Turbo 2.6.
2006 is going to be a fantastic season for us. It's the first time in about 8 years that I'm back on the circuit. And as I said before, you know, it is a passion. We've had the opportunity this year to be involved in the development of a Mahindra vehicle. Mahindra being the first time that a new product like this is being entered in South Africa. And I think it's a first for the Indian manufacturer as well. So as far as it goes, we're totally new. I've got a partner in crime, Ben Kruger, that's very well known. He's also had a lot of experience in 4x4 and also off-road rallies. And then, of course, he's used to sit in the hot seat in various national rallies. So Ben is very well equipped to drive along with us. And I think we're probably the two old men that's going to be having fun in this vehicle. And I've got a lot of hope and definitely a lot of trust in the Mahindra. And I think that for Mahindra, for the brand name itself, this will be a fantastic opportunity. For us to get back into motorsport, both Ben and myself, I think it's just a pleasure. It's going to be nice to be back with a big crowd again. Obviously, the 8 races that we're going to be running is going to be a fantastic experience. And then, of course, the first time ever that we've got a FIA international event here, and we will be there.
So will we be, and thus you too. Stay tuned.
That only diamonds are the ones to glow, and now you know it's time for the show. I'm gonna be there for you always. Gonna stand up right now today. Be there with you, and I gotta say, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there.
In a world that is continually changing, there's a continent gaining in recognition. Africa, I presume. African sporting heroes have laid down a legacy. Now it's the turn of the youth to follow. DHL Sports Africa is flying the continent to show off this often unexposed raw talent. Don't miss the bi-weekly DHL Sports Africa on Thursday night, only on SuperSport, your channel of champions.
crystal ball gazing ahead to the ABSA Off-Road Championship Series continues, and the one team that made a big splash in 2005 was the Motorrad Insurance Administrators Squad, who had what could only be termed as a dream come true win in Class B. At the 2006 announcement of their new-look team, it was clear that these lads were just going to pick up where they left off when Evan Hutchinson won Class B in the Special Vehicle Championship ahead of some more fancied crews. This year, they boast one more national champion, the production car title winner, as Alfie Cox has joined team manager Hutchison in the hunt for more big-time trophies.
We've got some new exciting news for the Motorrad team for 2006. We have the introduction of two new team members. Firstly, we've got production car champion Alfie Cox, who's moving across to special vehicles. He's going to come and give it a go in the Motorrad team. And second of all, we've got Brandon Harkis, who's back from America, and he's going to be campaigning his single-seater in the Class A championship as well. So our whole new setup, bigger team, all of us will be competing in Class A. Myself, I'll be moving from Class B to Class A with this new car. We've designed a new Spec 2 BAT, which hopefully will be the latest technology available to go and take on this Class A challenge. Put a lot of time and effort into this car, and hopefully the technology we're bringing to this championship will be the best technology out there and give us the best possible chance of taking the championship.
Concerning the rebuild, what did that entail, and what does the car boast under that big hood?
We've built a new BAT Spec 2, which is basically a development from the Spec 1, with a whole lot of changes. We're running a Chevy LS2 motor, which is a 6-litre, 510 horsepower motor, Fortin sequential gearbox, 5-speed, and those are two of the major changes. The majority of other changes on the car are that we've beefed up suspension, we have longer travel on the front, we are running a mid-mount configuration, which is what we believe would suit our local conditions better. So we've changed a whole lot of small things compared to the Spec 1 that we believe should make us quicker and more nimble for our local conditions.
One man who knows all about local conditions is Motorbike Supremo and the national production car champ, the mustachioed Alfie Cox from KwaZulu-Natal. It took him only 2 seasons to find his petrol and clutch feet, and from there it was A or Alfie for away. This time, though, the diminutive racer is behind the wheel of a Motorrad BAT for the season due to his Dakar Rally commitments for the year 2007. Yet another challenge for the small man with a big heart.
I think everybody knows that I won't be driving in the pickup for 2006. With the plans for the Dakar next year, it wasn't going to happen, but I didn't really want to sit out for the year, and it was fantastic to get a phone call from Motorrad to say there's a Sandmaster available and would I like to drive it, and sure. It's a different, I would say, not technology, but totally different way of driving, and it's a new challenge. I mean, moving from motorcycles to cars was also a challenge for me, but to win the championship last year was fantastic, and to get into a Sandmaster and to see what capabilities. I know that they always say it's much faster in a Sandmaster, and I think this is the year for the Sandmasters to show the pickups who's the kings of off-road racing, like it used to be 10, 15 years ago. So I think to have a teammate like Evan and Brandon, it's going to be really great, and a new challenge for us for 2006.
For Alfie Cox, racing in the space frame cars brings back memories, but he knows he'll have his work cut out for him.
I remember about 25 years ago when Bix Caronen was the king of Sandmasters, and the late Arthur Harkis, I used to always ask them if I could load their car on the trailers after we finished racing, and you know, finish the motorcycle before the cars in those days when in the South African Champs. And then they used to let me drive the car around the Mabatu car park. I used to just shoot out into the bush a little bit. So that's the most I've ever done in a Sandmaster. And yeah, it's going to be a new challenge, but a new way of driving. But I like a challenge, and just to have this opportunity, you know, I've got to be happy with it.
In Class A, there are several newcomers and no one has dominated. Clearly, the key to winning the category would be consistency.
Well, I think in the Sandmasters, I know the Class A, there's so many newcomers that have come to it. It's difficult to say, because it's when I've looked over the last 2-3 years, the guy that wins one race. You never have a consistent winner. Somebody like Terence Marsh, I think he won one race last year and he won the championship. So consistency. We've had the Bertals that have come with big horsepower, big this and that, and not finished every race. So I think consistency is what wins this special vehicle category, and that's the thing that I'm going to adapt and take it. So I would not say who's going to be the favourites, because there has never been a shining star that's won every single race. So we've always had a winner here and a winner there, but the Diamond Diggers, for sure, they did half the championship, half the series, and they won more than half the races, I think. So sure, I think they would be the guys to challenge. But this new monster that Evan is building, but it's a big step, I think, from Class B to Class A. So I think he's got to get used to it as well. So yeah, I couldn't say who's going to be the one, but consistency for sure will play the key to winning this championship this year.
Wise words from a man who should know. As for the other new man on the team, Brandon Harkis, he's learnt a lot in the United States, even though he raced for Motorrad twice in 2005.
Well, 2006 can be very exciting for me, just returning from America. Really looking forward to the year. This year's going to be a lot different for me. Having sold BAT Racing, it gives me a chance to concentrate on my own racing for a change. Give me a lot more time to focus on what I want to do. And to have the opportunity to come back to Motorrad team, although I did 2 races for them last year, having that opportunity in 2006 is going to give me a really good chance in the championship and to have overall race wins. And I think this year it's definitely war on the production vehicles. It's our best chance this year. Evan's got a brand new car. We've got guys like Alfie Cox coming in, who's a legend of motorsport in South Africa. So from our team's point of view, we've probably got a really good chance to shine this year, not only in the championship, but on individual race wins. So 2006 can be a great season for us. I'm really looking forward to it.
At the Atlas Copco HQ, Gary Berthold and his co-driver Henry Kirstein were checking out the latest developments and building of their new specification BAT. The canary yellow car will no doubt draw attention as it streaks around. Berthold started off the season with a win in the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 last year and is hoping to kick off the new season with exactly that kind of form. As for Kirstein, he changes seats.
Yes, 2006 I think is going to be an awesome year in racing, with a new Spec 1 BAT, with Atlas Copco on board as a sponsor. I think me and Gary can only do good. Obviously, it's something brand new to me to navigate. I was driving for the past 17 years, but I'm sure that the experience I've picked up over the years, by this time I should know what a driver wants to know and need to know in a car. And the main thing is we must start finishing races. To win races is one thing, to win a championship is another thing. But we all know the Berthold brothers, they fast and they're furious, but that's why I'm there. I'll try to calm him down a bit, and I know we're going to do good, especially with the service crew we got and all the facilities and our sponsors, Atlas Copco on board. We have to come with results at the end of the year and prove to everybody that we definitely going to be the team to be beaten.
That's war talk if ever we've heard it. Kirstein has years of experience, and both the Berthold boys are known to be a bit over-enthusiastic at times. If Henry can harness that and guide it in the right direction, then the Yellow Submarine may well be downing a few big fish in 2006.
Well, racing in the new Atlas Copco BAT Spec 1 for 2006 with Henry Kirstein as my navigator should be an interesting year. We're going to go for the championship. Having Henry as a navigator, previously a driver with experience in racing, could be an advantage. I'm sure that together with this formidable vehicle that we're now going to be racing, it should be a successful year for us. No longer technical failures. They've pretty much been ironed out in the previous year by my brother Bevan, now driving in the Toyota factory team. So that should be an interesting race as well.
And millimeters make a big difference.
10 now, 10 mils. 15, sir. Is it back on 15? Yeah, it's 15 now. Oh, well, let's keep it like that. You know,
Just leave it.
Yeah, now that we've turned these guards back, it's going to, you know, we're going to...
As for the L&J plant hire team, they started slow but finished fast.
We had a bit of a slow start. Sugarbelt wasn't too bad. We finished, I think, 4th. Then we started getting played with gremlins and with the engine management system. We've we overcame the problem by trading the car in and upgrading to a new car, which we've got, the new BAT Spec 1, which we're extremely happy with. And yeah, the last 3 races since we've had this car, we did extremely well. We got a second at Polokwane, first at Ladenburg, and a second at Carnival.
And that netted them 5th place on the championship log with 62 points. If they can build on the momentum they captured in 2006, look out in the special vehicle category.
We had a couple of problems with heating, so we've decided to put an extra radiator in. We're going to be sticking it in just below the main radiator, which we're in the process of doing at the moment. Bar that, everything else was fine.
In Class A, the men known as the Diamond Diggers, Gerard du Plessis and Ferdi Segers, will also be labelled as favourites, so look out for them. So, the 2006 season is shaping up to be a humdinger. There's been lots of talk leading up to the start of it all, but now the time for talking is finally over. As we leave you with some of the sights, sounds and intrigues of the 2005 season, the engines have already started revving for the first round of the Absa Off-Road Championship that's on at the Nissan Dealer 400 in the Western Cape on Friday and Saturday, 17 and 18 March. It is extreme off-road, and you'll be there at every turn of the wheel by just tuning into Supersport. Please check your local listings for our telecast times of all the highs and lows of the 06 season. Until then, you keep it on the road and we'll keep it off-road.